Hey, good morning everybody, and welcome back to the Air Warfare Group. This is Juice. So this week I was saddened to hear that my old friend, I wouldn't say he was a friend, just a charming person I got to spend a day with, in Iceland, Col Gail Halvorsen passed away at age 101. Colonel Halverson, you guys may know, especially those that are into Air Force history or those that were in the Air Force and studied history for promotion during our test, that the candy bomber, or also Uncle Wiggly Wings as he was known, was the C-54 guy that dropped candy to kids behind the Berlin Wall during the Berlin airlift. What a hero this guy was. And you guys have heard on my channel before of other people that I've met, famous people in famous circles and stuff that I've worked with or met. And I would have to say that Colonel Halverson is probably the number one hero that I met. And granted, remember me talking about it in a couple episodes. I got to spend a couple minutes with General Chuck Yeager all by myself, just he and I standing around for 10 minutes talking at the Marysville airport the day before my private pilot check ride. So he was kind of like my wings guardian angel to get me to my wings. And but Colonel Halverson, I have an interesting story about him and my wife and I in Iceland that I want to share with you. So most of you guys know I spent 2 years working in fighters and rescue in Iceland up at Keflavik Naval Air Station. And in July of 1998, it was the 50th anniversary of the Berlin airlift. And there's where NASCAF is, Naval Air Station Keflavik. It is currently closed right now, or it's just a NATO base that they're thinking about reopening. They may have moved along with that. If you guys know, put it in the comments. But at NASCAF, we were located just about maybe a good half-hour drive with no weather. With clear roads and everything. We were about a half-hour drive from the capital of Reykjavik. Remember, the air base is way out on the Reykjanes Peninsula, out near the city of Keflavik. That's why it's called Keflavik Airport. And it is not the Reykjavik Airport, which is another city airport that's right near the city. It's a smaller airport. So in the city there, you can, being at the base, there's lots of tours. You can take a bus, you can, take a taxi or ride with friends down to the city and go see the sights. This is one of the big churches there with, I believe this is Leif Erikson, Eric the Red's son, who is a famous pilgrim, or famous person in Iceland that helped establish the Icelandic peoples and the Norse Viking heritage. Now, if you had a car while you were there, you could get out and see everything in Iceland. That was what the neat thing about being there. And we'll connect this right here with Colonel Halverson. So this is a picture that I took when we went to the Blue Lagoon, and that's Colonel Halverson right there giving me a thumbs up. I got out of the car, my wife's in the back seat, and we let the colonel ride up front. And I'll tell you the story about how this came about. So if you're there, if you're going to take somebody out in Iceland, you got a ton of choices to show them. You can take them to see waterfalls. You can take them to the huge site of the first parliamentary, or the first democratic type of gathering amongst all the Viking clans, where they used to meet once a year to go to this place in Iceland to basically sort out the laws of the land and stuff like that. And this was Thingvellir. It's right near the mid-Atlantic ridge, where it's up on shore, right in the big crack that goes across Iceland that spreads it out about every year. It's like 0.4 or 4 millimeters a year that it gets farther apart, the edges of the island. And in this area right here, there's this heritage site that they have. It's kind of like a national park. You can go down on the south shore coast past Vik to the Glacier Basin, or Glacier Bay. It's a huge tourist place where one of the big glaciers kind of comes off and breaks off into this big lagoon, and you can go around and see ice that's thousands and millions of years old. You can go down to various parts of the island, and including down by Westmannaeyjar, the Westman Islands, the town of Jaime. I believe it's the island of Jaime, or the Westman Islands, but the Westmannaeyjar is the town. And you can go down there and see puffins, or you can go one of the many volcano tubes, or lava tubes they're called. Basically, it's like caving or spelunking. I think this one is about a mile and a quarter long, about 2 kilometers. And these areas are all around the island that you can go to. Now, in July of 1998, I'm sitting in my office and I get a phone call. And the phone call kind of goes like this. Yeah, hello, this is Col Gail Halvorsen, retired. We're flying across to Templetop in this C-54, and the guys at Dover gave us this vacuum-packed life raft, but we don't know how to use it. And I'm like, I didn't even pick up what was he was saying. I was like, he said, Halverson, Templetop, C-54, vacuum-packed life raft. And my first initial thought was, he was speaking so fast that my first thought was, this is a retiree that's flying on a hop flight that diverted through here to get gas or whatever, and he's going to Germany, and he's not sure about his aircrew briefing, about his safety briefing, about the life rafts and stuff. And then I was like, he asked, can you guys come down and show us how to work this thing? And so I thought, yes, sir, I'll come down. I was pretty available then, and I was it was only a few minute drive down to the Mac terminal. So I drove. I hang up the phone, and immediately a light bulb comes on. I go, wait, Halverson, C-54, Templetop. That's the Berlin air guy. I just talked to the candy bomber. And so as soon as I realized and put it together, all my memories of learning about the candy bomber during professional military education and stuff through Operation Vittles, as it was called, to take supplies to the two people that were being blocked into Berlin because of the Berlin blockade. I went around the squadron and got every available person that wasn't doing anything. I was talking to one of our captains. She was an air intercept controller, AWACS person. Got her and her husband. He was also an AWACS controller. Got a few enlisted people and myself and a few others, and we went down. We carpooled down to the Mac terminal and got to take a tour of the C-54 that was flying from the States all the way through Keflavik to get gas and oil on this C-54. And this was their route. And when we were there, Colonel Halverson was showing us around, and I showed him how to use the vacuum pack. Well, it really wasn't a vacuum pack life raft. It was a full size. But for him, because everything is small these days, he thought it was vacuum pack, considering what he was used to in the old days. And so it was a 20-man life raft, and I showed him how to activate it. But basically, you have one person hold the handle, and two people stand by the door and pitch it out, and the handle inflates it, and then you hang on to it. It keeps you tethered to the aircraft until you get everybody in the raft, and then you can break it away. So they're going through, and as we're getting a tour, basically it's like a flying museum. If you ever get a chance to go visit the Berlin Airlift Association headquarters and see the C-54, you'll see a beautiful airplane. So we get to go through this tour. And as we get through, one of his crew chiefs, these are all the civilians. There's about 19 guys on the crew that were flying over there, crew and passengers and donors for the Berlin Airlift Association. There was 19 people flying across, and they're in an airplane where they have a 55-gallon drum or two of oil just to pump into the engines every so many hours, because these are old radial engines. 4 of them on this aircraft. So, it's kind of like that thing like, hey, when you pull into an airport, say, check the gas and add oil. Fill her up with oil. And so they really use a lot of oil. They had plenty of oil for the trip. However, the headwinds coming from Berlin, from Germany, as they were going down, were too high for them to get to the next stop to get to oil and gas. And so they decided to stay another night. As soon as we found that out, me and my squadron mates and I should say, offered to take these guys to the Blue Lagoon, because they only had a 24-hour layover and they needed crew rest. They needed to get back to the airplane to pre-flight and get out there. So in July, it is 24 hours of daylight. So we thought, hey, the Blue Lagoon's like 20 minutes away or 30 minutes away. Do you guys want to go to the Blue Lagoon? And Colonel Halverson was the only guy to take us up on it. So my wife and I were basically his chaperones for dinner that night and taking him to the Blue Lagoon, which was a blast. What a nice guy. So when I got everybody around in the squadron and told them who we were getting ready to go meet, we went down to the vending machine and bought everybody pulled their change together, and we bought every Hershey bar that we could find down there, and he signed my Hershey bar. This is I've had this for almost 30 years. Well, let's see, 1998. So it's been about 24 years right now, 25 years next year, that I've had this in my patch collection, my military patch collection, just in a Ziploc bag, put in a box in the closet. And when I found out about his passing, it made me want to go dig this out, and that's where I got the inspiration to put this little slideshow together. So this is what the Blue Lagoon looked like when he and I went there, and my wife. And if you guys have been to Iceland since 1999, you have seen a different Blue Lagoon. This Blue Lagoon is farther away from the power station. The power station used to be right at this. I mean, you could barely have a conversation here because of all the steam noise from generating power from the steam they were bringing out of the ground. But it was a commercial place with showers. You go in there, very warm water, very muddy. You don't want to eat any of the mud because there's all kinds of hairs and stuff in it. But pretty much that medicinal mineral mud that you put on your face and everything was pretty cool. And this is what the new Blue Lagoon looks like on the right side. It's a little you go from the locker room into this captured pool. This pool is part of the lagoon, but the outside area and this part right here are like a half-mile away from the industrial area. So it's a lot quieter. It's more posh, more it's more touristy, as you might want to say, and everything. So, well, this has just been a short video, guys, sharing some history that I had with meeting one of the greatest heroes in our times, Colonel Halverson. Rest in peace, sir. This is the neatest guy that in aviation history that I ever met. I didn't get a lot of pictures or any pictures other than that one outside the car there of him giving me a thumbs up. However, he had his video camera, and I remember him, I'm driving and he's videotaping from the front seat of Iceland, and he's panning over and he goes, "There's my new buddy Don." And this would have been 24 years ago. So he was 24 years, 101. He was in his high 70s, and he was flying with a crew over to Tempelhof for the 50th anniversary. I hope you guys like it. If you do, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend. It's a piece of history. And remember, air warfare is not just dropping bombs and shooting bullets. It is all the part of air warfare, the logistics, the training of the air crew, and also of the support of everybody else. So this is one of my air warfare heroes. A salute to him. And thank you guys for watching. Take care.